there, just listen to me, because you're going to go past something. I want to tell you something about it. Down there, if you're coming this way, you've already gone past it. There's a wonderful sand sculpture, all right? It's amazing. It's a miracle, that sand sculpture down there, you know. It was just like, it blew in from Morecambe Beach, and it just all kind of came together and made this lovely sculpture of three dogs just lying on top of each other down there. I wonder whether you can see it. It's amazing. It all just came together by chance. The sand particles, it's a miracle. Do you believe me, sir? That down there, there's a little sand sculpture. It's a miracle. You have a look at it. It just came together by chance. The particles just blew in from Morecambe Beach. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. And you think, sir, don't stay in it, but when you do go down there, I want you to have a look at it. Morecambe Beach, there's a wind, it just blew in and just fluttered down from the building, landed on the floor, and then came together and made this amazing sculpture, this beautiful sand sculpture of dogs. It's amazing, honestly. It's a wonder to behold, an absolute miracle. Those sand particles down there just came to make a dog. Now, have I gone off my rocker? Hey? Am I telling the truth there? I'm not, am I? And I think the guy down there who spent ages this morning making those sand sculptures is probably going to be a little bit annoyed at me saying that those particles came together to make a sand sculpture. Because they didn't. He spent ages crafting it and making it. But you know, we make the same mistake with God, don't we? We say, oh, you know what, this world just exploded into existence. It's just an accident. We're all just accidents. You know, but God actually created this world. Right, he crafted it carefully. He made you. He knit you together in your mother's womb. He spent time building you up from those cells and making you who you are today. But he doesn't just stop there. The creator of the universe who made all these things that came together, not by chance, but by the word of God. He wants to have a relationship with you. Right? He's created you, and he wants to have a relationship with you. Can I tell you a little story that will illustrate that point? Sorry, sir, what's that?
Who made this God?
Who made God? Right, that's a wonderful question. I'm so glad you answered it. It takes a long time to answer. Have you got time to answer it?
Yeah.
Right, brilliant. Okay, who made God? Right, what's your name, sorry?
Ashton.
Ashton. Ashton's just asked me, I'm Paul by the way, Ashton. Ashton's just asked me, who made God? And it's a question that everybody thinks is going to just stop the Christian in the tracks and say, it's all very well saying that, you know, it's not an accident, this is design, and by the way, do take a leaflet off me that explains this. But how on earth can you explain God? How did he come into being? Because, you know, surely everything needs to be created. Well, if I said to you, Ashton, that actually I know who made God. Bob made God, all right? Would you be happy with the answer? Bob made God, that's who made God, yeah? No, because why would you not be happy with the answer? Because you want to know who made Bob, wouldn't you? You'd be like, hang on, well, okay, Bob made God, who made Bob? So, oh, Charlie made, not this Charlie, different Charlie, I'm with the alphabet. Charlie made Bob, and Bob made God. But then you want to know who made Charlie. You say, oh, right, Fred made Charlie made Bob, Bob made God. Eventually, you're just going to get to somebody who just is, who didn't need a beginning, didn't need to be created, the God of the universe, that's God. And do you know what? People's names tell us about ourselves. My name's Paul, all right? You know what Paul means? It means small. That's why I'm stood on a ladder today, so you can all see me. All right? Paul means small. Everybody's names mean something. All right? So my name means small. All right, God's name is actually not God. God is his job. That's his job. He's the God of the world, God of the universe. But God's name is actually, and I'll take my cap off to say this, because it's a very, very holy name, and the Jews don't utter it very often. God's name is Yahweh. Yahweh. And do you know what Yahweh means? It means I am. So God's name tells us something about him. It tells us that he is. His name's not I was, not I am going to be. His name is I am. That means he just is. He just is. He doesn't need a beginning, doesn't need an end. Because when we get confused about God, it's hard for us to explain God. Imagine, like, you know, me trying to explain how I switch on a light switch to my goldfish at home. You know, he has got no concept of electricity. All he knows is what's in that goldfish bowl. Well, it's a bit like that with us, you know, trying to understand God. God is just something other. He's something else. It's difficult for us to explain who God is, the only way we can explain how God is by talking about what he's not. We have to say, well, he's not visible, he's invisible. He's not mortal, he's immortal. He's not finite like you and me, he's infinite. So the only way you can define God is by saying what he's not, because he's so something else, he's so other. Alright, now the hippies would say, that is something else. It is. God is just something else, and we're spirit. He's spirit, so it's really difficult for us to understand that, but he did not need to be created because God just is. And logically, that's the only answer to how we can all be here. We didn't explode into existence like a Big Bang, alright? And even if that was the case, the Big Bang, if the Big Bang was true, we still need, that's fine, I'm okay with that, because that means the universe had a beginning. And if the universe had a beginning, then it had a beginner. Right, with a capital B, somebody started the whole thing off. But we're not exploded here by chance. Alright, this leaflet explains it. It's called Accident or Design. And I tell you now, we are not an accident. Alright? We are designed. This universe is designed. The earth is designed by God. And we're here not as an accident. We've been designed. Do you know how else we've been designed? We've been designed to love him. We've been designed to follow him. Alright? And if you're living a different life and you're not happy, well, that's why, I'll tell you why you're not happy, because you've not been designed to just live for yourself. You've been designed to love God. You've been designed to worship him. And every one of us has a hole in our hearts that will only be filled when we come to Jesus and when we worship God. Until we start worshipping God, we have sadness in our hearts. So I'll tell you now, come to Jesus and you will be forgiven and you will have that peace and that hope in your heart, and you have that joy and you will have that satisfaction.
How do you know this God you're talking about is name?
Because I've met him. I've actually met him. Now I don't mean physically, because God is spirit, but he has touched my heart. He's said things to me. He reveals himself through his word, the Bible. Have you ever read the Bible, sir?
Yes.
You have? What happened when you read the Bible?
I thought, what a load of misleading stuff written by a man called Paul as well.
Yes, yeah. Paul wrote a lot of the New Testament. Luke wrote a lot of the New Testament as well. Luke was a really analytical man. He's someone who just checked everything out. He made sure he got the absolute facts. So have you read Luke's Gospel?
Several times.
Yeah, well, Luke's Gospel, you must have been convinced by some things that Luke said. Luke went into great detail. What about the resurrection, sir? What do you think about the resurrection, Ashton? I mean, come on. A man came back to life. Is that not preaching enough?
I don't think he was dead.
This is the man
You don't think he was dead? Well, his mum was watching Mother Mary and he pierced him through the side with a spear and blood flowed out. He was dead. They took him off the cross, they buried him in the tomb. He was dead. He was so dead, you have to say the two syllables. He was dead, as the Americans would say. Honestly, there's no way. And the disciples saw it. They realised he was dead. They all went back to their old jobs and I'm not interested. It's like, there's no way. We thought Jesus was the Messiah, and he's not. He's just died. He's in the grave. And they all just went back to their jobs. Now, something happened with those disciples that every single one of them went to their deaths for. Now, let me tell you something, right? I used to say this. I used to say nobody dies for a lie. But they do, because we see some people blowing themselves up in the name of their religion, thinking that they're going to go to heaven, right? That's a lie. That's not the case. So people do die for a lie. But I'll tell you this now, nobody dies for what they know to be a lie. Now, this is the conspiracy theory. Who likes the conspiracy theory? Yeah, anybody like the conspiracy theory? Yeah, don't back down with the conspiracy theory. So I'll tell you, one of the biggest conspiracy theories going that wasn't actually true, it was that the disciples stole Jesus' body. That's why there's no body. That's why you cannot find Jesus' body anywhere. The conspiracy theory was that the disciples stole his body. Now, if they stole his body, alright, then why did they go to their deaths, alright, proclaiming that Jesus had risen from the dead? If they knew that he hadn't died and rose again, then they would have not done that. But because because nobody dies for what they know to be a lie. If they covered it up and they did like buried him somewhere else, stole his body and buried him something else, got past 16 guards, I don't know how they managed that, by the way, 16 Roman guards, but if they'd have done that, yeah, then they knew when they were faced with death, saying, right, you renounce Jesus now, otherwise he's going to kill you. Then they go, all right, yeah, fair enough, we just made it all up, yeah, we buried him like, We buried him like over to the side of Jordan to show you where bodies. No, they would have been dying for what they knew to be alive, but they all went to their deaths. Why did they all go to their deaths? Why did they all say, no, you can kill me, but I will live again? Because they'd seen Jesus who'd been killed and he lived again. He came back from the dead, he rose from the dead, and that's the greatest hope that we have, that we too, when we die, will rise from the dead. They knew that, they went to the death because they'd seen the risen Lord Jesus in front of their very eyes. So they really quickly jacked in their jobs, a bit of fishermen and a tax collector and all the rest of it, that they'd gone back to, like, right, we've seen Jesus risen from the dead, this is the best news ever. I'm going to be proclaiming it to everybody I see because we've got hope now. We know he was the Messiah. And do you know, friends, not only has he died and he's rose again, but he's coming back again. One day, and it's coming very soon, I believe, he's coming back to judge this world. Now, will you be on his side or will you be on the devil's side? There's only two camps. There's only his side and God's side and the devil's side. You need to be in him when he comes back again. Because it'll be too late once he's arrived. You'll be like, oh, there he is. Oh, no. It's too late. You've got to come to him now. You've got to say, do you know what? I know I'm a sinner. I know I need forgiving. I'm going to come to you, Jesus, and I'm going to dedicate my life to following you. He's what?
Hail Satan!
Well, he's going to... You might say that, but have you read Revelation? Because he gets thrown into the lake of fire in the end. I'm just getting the bird off that bird. Seriously, he's going to... I've seen how it ends, all right? You want to be, when he comes back, before he comes back, you want to be on the victory side. You want to be on his side. Because Jesus wins in the end. Yeah, we might get beaten, we might get thrown in prison, might be an awful lot of bad things happens to those who follow him, but he's coming back and he's going to set everything right. Because he made this world. That's not by accident, but by design. And he's made you to worship him. And if you want peace in your heart, friends of Lancaster, then you need to come to him. And he will give you that peace, he will give you that joy. You'll have a love like no other. A love that is faithful. You know, you might have been cheated on, things might have gone wrong in your life, but he loves you and he will never leave you or desert you. Alright, so friends, if you want to take a leaflet, if you want to take a Bible, if you want to take a New Testament, come and read more about these things. Because God made you and he loves you and he wants to have a relationship with you. Thank you for listening.